In an apparent reversal of policy, Turkey has called for better ties with Syria and Iraq.
It is our greatest and irrevocable goal, developing good relations with Syria and Iraq and all our neighbors that surround the Mediterranean and the Black Sea, because we have been sharing these lands in this region for centuries.
Prime Minister Binali Yildirim says that his country has normalized ties with Russia and Israel and hopes to mend relations with Syria next. Since taking office, Yildirim has repeatedly said that Turkey needs to increase its friends and decrease its enemies, in an apparent admission that past policies have left Ankara on the sidelines. Turkey has long been one of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's staunchest opponents, arguing that only his departure can stabilize Syria. Ankara has been blamed for supporting militant groups in Syria and facilitating their safe passage into the war-torn country. Marcus Papadopoulos, publisher and editor of Politics First, joins us from London. If only Turkey made this decision 3 years or 4 years ago, they would have saved about 200,000 or 300,000 lives, maybe. But so we're looking here now at this particular turn of events. Prior to that, Russia. Then we had Israel, and of course, I'm running out of countries. Are they trying to return back as to having the close relationship in order to secure their security? What do you think is the incentive and motive here?
Turkey finds itself today in a diabolical position in terms of security and stability. For the last few years, Turkey's policy towards Syria has had catastrophic consequences for Syria, for the Middle East, for North Africa, for Europe, and also for Turkey itself. Turkey has not just only been arming the Islamist terrorists in Syria, including ISIS, it hasn't just only been giving them logistical support, it has given them free passage into Syria from Turkish territory, and Turkey has allowed vast training camps for Islamist terrorists on Turkish soil, and then those Islamist terrorists and jihadists go from those Turkish camps into Syria. So there's an old saying, if you play with fire, you get burnt, and that is what Turkey is experiencing today. I would issue one caveat, however. Turkey seems to be saying that it wants to normalize relations with Damascus. Well, if Turkey is sincere about wanting to normalize relations with Syria, then it has to do a number of things. It has to cease all forms of support to terrorist groups in Syria. That includes ISIS, that includes al-Nusra, that includes the FSA, the Army of Islam, etc., etc. It has to then seal its border with Syria to prevent any Islamists and jihadists from crossing from Turkey into Syria. And it also has to recognize the Syrian government as the legitimate government of Syria, and to recognise President Assad as the legitimate president of Syria. Now, quite frankly, unless Turkey carries out those things which I've just mentioned, then I can't see how Turkey can fully re-establish or normalise relations with Syria.
So why has Turkey decided to make this move?
Because Turkey is suffering in terms of its security. Turkey has experienced numerous ISIS terrorist attacks. Now, people watching this interview may ask, well, first of all, the gentleman said that Turkey is supporting ISIS, but now he's saying that ISIS is carrying out terrorist attacks in Syria. Well, the truth is that ISIS has been supporting, Turkey has been supporting ISIS. The Russian government has provided evidence, the Kurds have provided evidence, and Turkish investigative journalists have provided evidence. But it's starting to, the Islamist rebellion in Syria is starting to crumble now. The Syrian government and the Syrian army now has the upper hand. And the Americans are starting to put pressure on Turkey to start clamping down on ISIS, both on Turkish soil, but also in Syria itself. So the Turkish army, the Turkish military has been targeting ISIS, has been killing a number of their militants. And so ISIS is now responding with fury against its former friend. So what we can say is that the murderers and the thieves are starting to fall out amongst themselves, i.e. Turkey and ISIS. And Turkey understands now, or possibly understands, the reckless, foolish, dangerous consequences of its policy towards Syria, because Turkish civilians are dying as a result of ISIS terrorist attacks, and they're trying to remedy the situation. But Turkey has a long way to go, and you're absolutely right. You said if Turkey had adopted this policy a number of years ago, it would have saved hundreds of thousands of lives in Syria, and I full-heartedly agree with with what you said.
Thank you for that. Pleasure talking to you, Marcus Papadopoulos, publisher and editor of Politics First.